Stalked.
I think it's the boyfriend.
Scared.
He's like stumbling around in the backyard. Who's trying to kill you?
And threatened.
My boyfriend's trying to stab himself and he's had me down on the ground trying to stab me also.
Uncovering critical failures in a system that's supposed to protect.
She was shot.
And how was it allowed to happen?
Yes, she's out.
Why didn't they take him in? Why didn't they arrest him?
A failure that destroyed 2 lives.
This was a long, repeated history of issues. Signs, red flags.
Tonight, a special 5 on Your Side investigation. Who killed Caitlin?
This could maybe help other young women who are struggling with the same kind of situation.
It's a story that unfolded right here in the streets of this city, Mansfield, best known for its historic prison, featured in movies like The Shawshank Redemption.
But this is a story about Caitlin Carol Peak, kidnapped and murdered by her ex-boyfriend. It's a story 5 on Your Side Chief Investigator Ron Regan learned could be true of countless women across Ohio, women that our 2-year-long investigation uncovered are at risk from their abusers.
Caitlin's call for help was among more than 1,000 every year here in Richland County. But we found her abuser, like many, went unpunished and without treatment. In this case, it cost them both their lives.
This is a hearing on a petition for a civil protection order.
Inside a Richland County courtroom.
Are you Caitlin Carroll?
Yes, I am.
Caitlin asked for one thing.
He punched me in my eye.
Protection.
It looks like the area around your left eye has some damage to it.
Yeah, it's black on the top and all around here.
It's protection she never got. After just 3 days, deputies simply gave up trying to find her abuser. And it set the stage for a tragedy.
Dakota!
2 years later.
Dakota, show your hand!
It's early on a cold March morning.
Dakota Stiegel. Young kid, huh? 20. Killed his ex-girlfriend.
Dakota Stiegel is surrounded by police.
Went to his ex-girlfriend's house, drug her out from there, took her somewhere else, killed her.
And a SWAT team is poised to move in. Just hours earlier, Stiegel sped off from Caitlin's apartment, her 7-week-old baby in the back seat. Now miles away, and a chase at 100 miles an hour.
We're looking for an armored vehicle that we can use to maybe make an approach to see if this guy's dead inside the car.
Police have Stiegel surrounded. A robot is sent in.
They were on standby for this, knowing this was going to end somewhere probably bad.
At the same time, his grandmother
he wouldn't stop.
Called to the scene, praying he'll surrender.
And then we got there. They wouldn't let us go out from under the underpass. They made us stay back there, but we could see Dakota's car going down the ramp real slow, and all of a sudden it pulled over. And then they all, including the robot, all zeroed in. And apparently he shot himself as they were coming up to him. So the next time I got to hug my grandson, he was cold and no longer here. And it all could have been stopped.
It's a tragedy that claimed 2 lives. A young mother working 9 to 5 in a medical office.
She was always willing to help other people and put other people before herself.
A young man whose life spun out of control with drugs and alcohol.
Good student for the most part, normally an AB student, very athletic, very talented.
And 2 families searching for answers.
We feel like Kate's story needs to be told.
Everybody had a hand in it. Every single person had a hand in it.
What we found is a trail of clues that should have stopped it. And who killed Caitlin goes far beyond pulling the trigger.
911.
We think our daughter's missing.
911, what's your emergency?
Okay, where would your daughter go? Go ahead.
We rushed over to her house and she's not here. Hello, 911.
Caitlin was just 22 years old.
Then she hung up.
And she barely hung up.
Her 7-week-old baby girl in the back seat. And Caitlin's ex-boyfriend.
We have a lot of history with this guy.
About to make good on a promise.
She was shot.
Yes, she's out.
Okay,
He shot her at least 5 times.
Oh, he shot her 5 times. You saw him shoot her.
I want everyone to see this baby girl. I want them to know that her mother could have been here. If it wouldn't have been for multiple failures of police agencies and people just continually looking the other way.
Looking the other way, time and time again. Our investigation found the path Dakota Stiegel pursued for years was as deadly as the road he traveled last March, when finally striking again for the last time.
So the day I die, I will carry in my heart that my baby got horrifically murdered for no reason.
Caitlin's father now has custody. Stiegel committed suicide, but we found a pattern of violence allowed to continue for more than 2 full years.
Who's trying to kill you?
Caitlin first calls for help November 2014.
My boyfriend's trying to stab himself, and he's had me down on the ground trying to stab me also.
Stiegel left behind his blood-soaked sweatshirt and a terrified Caitlin.
What's your name, honey? Caitlin. Caitlin? Yeah.
Stiegel had stabbed himself in the chest. He was committed for a mental health evaluation. 3 months earlier, at the county fairgrounds, he was arrested for throwing chunks of concrete in a crowded parking lot. But Stiegel's explosive temper would surface again and again.
Almost certainly. I mean, there's been many threats from Dakota on Kate's life.
Caitlin's aunt remembers one of them.
I'm going to make you lose your job, then I'm going to kill you, and then I'm going to kill myself and I'll be done. That's what he told her.
By 2015, arrested again, trying to steal wine. Then, a few months later, Stiegel explodes again in a drunken rage, punching Caitlin in the left eye. In May 2015, she files for this protection order, telling a judge, "I don't feel safe." Instead, Stiegel was allowed to roam free. The warrant never served. Records show deputies made only 4 tries, then gave up. Caitlin's case was dismissed.
Hi, I had the police out here earlier.
So, just weeks later, Stiegel lashes out again for the 3rd time.
So he started pulling my hair and holding me down on the bed and hitting me.
Over the next 10 months, Caitlin called 911 repeatedly.
He attacked me in front of my 14-year-old sister.
Even her mother called.
She's tired of calling the cops because they told her if she called them again, she would get charged with disorderly conduct or something.
That's right. A 4-time victim of domestic violence now fears police will arrest her.
We're just afraid that something's going to happen.
And it did. It's now January 2016.
He was threatening to kill her and himself.
Caitlin calls 911, but hangs up. And 1 month later, Stiegel strikes again.
He was in a domestic with his girlfriend again tonight.
Caitlin has now been threatened with her life 6 separate times over 16 months.
She had tried to get away from him. She knew they were not good for each other. But at the same time, she was still trying to be a friend to him because he did threaten to commit suicide multiple times.
Then, 2 weeks later, Stiegel sends Caitlin a series of threatening text messages. Her uncle calls police.
I have got a guy that is claiming that he is on his way to kill my mother and grandmother.
Stiegel now claims he's outside.
He claims that he has a gun and he's coming there to kill them.
3 days later, growing increasingly unstable, Stiegel barricades himself inside his apartment.
The press wants to commit suicide.
But despite repeated threats and beatings, police, prosecutors, judges, and probation officers could not stop Stiegel from striking again and again until one night.
Is the female still there with you?
Last March.
Yes, she's dead. She's dead?
Multiple people knew. Multiple people seen it, and they never said nothing. We're going to be bystanders to let beautiful little girls like this be raised without a mother? What kind of society are we bringing up? What kind of society are we living in today?
Our investigation found criminal charges against Stiegel were routinely reduced, and he was continually placed on probation.
All right, before we get to our post-game show in just minutes, News 5 bringing you breaking news on this Easter Sunday. I'm Mike Brookbank at the live desk, and happening right now, one person is dead and a massive search is on for this man claiming to have killed at least a dozen people across Cleveland.
Tonight, a massive manhunt underway for this man, Steve Stevens, who shot and killed a man in cold blood, live on Facebook. Our Air Tracker 5 keeping a close eye on this manhunt as police continue to search for Stevens tonight. He's believed to be driving this white or cream-colored Ford Fusion. Police say he is armed and dangerous. Our Derek Waller brings us the latest on the manhunt happening right now. Derek.
Well, Rob, police across Northeast Ohio have been looking for Stevens all night, and here's why. On that live Facebook video, he claims to have killed 13 other people, but tonight there is no indication that that claim is indeed true. We have a picture of the actual car that police are still looking for right now. It's a white 2016 Ford Fusion with Ohio temporary tags E363630. That's an extremely common vehicle, and tips have been pouring into police all night with potential sightings. Air Tracker 5 has been up all night tracking the search. At one point, police found a car matching that description on East 105th near St. Clair, but that was a false call. Other reported sightings all across the county, including in Solon, downtown Cleveland, the city's west side, and Chesterland, but they are still looking tonight.
The hunt for the Facebook killer.
We're following up on every lead that comes in to us, every single lead.
The search still on here in Ohio and across the nation for the killer who shot a random innocent man, then posted it for the world to see.
Killed 13 people, and I'm about to keep killing until they catch me.
As a family and a community grieves.
I knew that my dad was gonna die yesterday on Easter.
We all ask, why?
They want to shock society, and now they've come up with a new way.
We have to be careful, we have to be vigilant, and we have to watch over each other.
The man now known as the Facebook killer, still on the run tonight. The nationwide manhunt rolls on as we learn new information about Steve Stevens and his victim, Robert Godwin Sr. News 5 has team coverage tonight, from a neighborhood's call for change to analysis of Stevens' actions at a gun range. But we begin tonight with News 5 anchor Frank Wiley, who has the very latest on the search. Frank?
Rob, there's a $50,000 reward for information leading to an arrest. And on Facebook, Stevens joked that he would not be able to make it to work today because of what happened. As you can imagine, the victim's family is struggling to make it through the night.
Rob, a lot of tears tonight and a lot of people having trouble making sense of exactly what happened over on East 93rd Street yesterday. But there is one thing that is very clear. People say that they know exactly what needs to change right now.
Let them get some peace. Just turn yourself in, please.
The mother of two of Robert Godwin's children could not hold back her tears.
He took my kid's father from him. And you still breathing out here. My baby's is hurting.
Angela Smalls and her children stood in the same spot on East 93rd Street where her boyfriend and their father was killed on Sunday.
Nobody knew that my dad was gonna die yesterday on Easter.
An immediate void total strangers are now filling.
Nobody that matters, look at me, is gonna think you weak because you're crying.
You have no connection to this family.
No.
And so what made you want to do this?
This is my neighborhood.
James Kidd organized this gathering in part to get neighbors in this Glenville community behind a rebirth. Kidd knows the dilapidated houses and vacant lots might have attracted a killer.
It would help if this were, instead of a gated off area, this were a park, because more people would have been out.
Breaking news at the top of the noon today. The Facebook killer is dead. Good afternoon. I'm Leon Bibb along with Lee Jordan. Pennsylvania State Police just confirmed that Steve Stevens shot himself in the head after fleeing a traffic stop there in Erie and leading police on a short chase.
Leon, you heard right at the beginning, the mayor said we have our closure today, especially for the families, for so many people across Northeast Ohio and the country who were hoping for a resolution to this. Unfortunately, we may never get some answers because, as we know, Steve Stevens took his own life. But we are told that the families have been notified, and especially the victim, 74-year-old Robert Godwin Sr. He had a very large family. He had 10 children. We spoke with some of them yesterday, and they said that they do forgive Steve Stevens.
I found it interesting that there was no contact. If there indeed was a ping up here in Erie Sunday night, as the Cleveland police had alluded to, they were not alerted to it up here on the Pennsylvania State Police end. With that being said, they knew he was a frequent visitor to the Erie Casino up here, so they knew the possibility existed that he could be up here. Surprising to them was the fact that how he was able to move around here in the Erie area and not be detected. This is a case that has exposed the good, the bad, and the ugly of social media, from the vile beginning of it, but the positive side of the spread of the information related to that white Ford Fusion.
To champion your disputes, to get answers to questions no one else is asking, to hold those in power accountable. That's why we are always investigating. News 5. See what we uncover next.
Rob, our team spent months reviewing disciplinary records from the Ohio Department of Education. We found even when the state tries to protect students, problems easily slip through the cracks.
I was a happy little kid, you know, trying to look for jobs, you know.
Ronald Tremp was just 14 years old.
Raking leaves and mowing grass and stuff like that.
When his trust was shattered.
Things changed.
It started when a neighbor approached him with a simple request to rake leaves. Eager to earn money, Ron agreed.
He'd come over and we'd chit-chat and stuff, and then he would get personal with me.
Ron says he was molested by his neighbor, Harold Jerry Mash.
My life was never the same. My self-esteem was low. My confidence was low. So it was just difficult.
Decades later, Ron learned he wasn't alone. Turns out Harold Jerry Mash was already convicted of abusing another boy. To make matters even worse, Mash was a teacher and managed to keep his Ohio license even after that conviction.
He still had it. He still had it.
Fast forward 40 years, someone like Mash would lose their license. Criminal convictions now trigger an alert to the Department of Education. Also, schools must report when a teacher is accused of serious misconduct. The result? We found Ohio permanently revoked the licenses of 217 aides, coaches, and teachers in just the last 2 years.
Hey,
but we also found their efforts
did you tell them?
Don't always work.
Should you be working with teen girls?
I should be working with teenagers, ma'am.
Meet Varric Fuller.
How are you hired?
Ma'am, I'm not at liberty to talk to you right now.
Ohio permanently revoked his license after he admitted, among other things, he sent vulgar texts to a teenage girl. Texts that left nothing to the imagination.
Did you ask a teenage girl and offer to have sex with her? Because this says you did. This says you offered to have sex with a teen girl.
I did not, ma'am. I did not.
So where did we find Fuller? Still working with teenage girls as a student success coach at Invictus High School, a Cleveland charter school.
Did they know that you lost your license?
They didn't inquire about it, but I did let them know. I did put it on my... I've told them about my situation, yes, ma'am.
That's not what administrators told us. They wouldn't talk on camera, but fired Fuller a few hours after this interview.
Tonight, an exclusive 5 on Your Side investigation into a tiny village with a big secret. A plan so well thought out, would you fall for it?
It's an eye-opening investigation that took us months. The main target? The 92,000 cars that travel I-77 through Newburgh Heights every single day.
5 on Your Side investigator Jonathan Walsh uncovered a 3.5-year government-sanctioned scheme in Newburgh Heights that's collected thousands of dollars in a misleading way.
You think it's official, you know, and you're doing the right thing.
Rhonda Abraham, a victim of a widespread scheme to fool people and insurance companies into giving cash to Newburgh Heights.
I work hard for my money.
You don't want to just give it away?
No, I don't want to give it away. I can do better things with it.
She's not alone.
And they just assume they have to pay it or they're going to get arrested if they don't.
Mike McFarland paid up too.
It just don't seem morally right to charge you for something like this.
And what are they charging for? Calling the cops for an accident.
Would you expect this from your public officials?
No.
But it is the same village where at least 1/5 of its budget comes from traffic tickets. Inside the village's new $2.8 million hall sits this cavernous, well-adorned chamber, complete with bay windows, crown molding, and a chandelier. The court cost for these proceedings? $90 a head.
You've all been given a statement of your rights.
There's money going into the police department. It's a village with just under 2,200 people, but it has 30 total officers. This in a town where we drove the main loop, it took us 3.5 minutes. 30 officers? Similar villages, Strasburg, Walton Hills, Gates Mills, all with more people, all with many more square miles, all with fewer officers. A lot fewer. We wanted to know more about charging people for calling the cops. As you know, we've been trying to talk to you a little bit about these insurance billings. Stewards of the village coffers didn't want to talk to us, so we went to them just before their bi-weekly meeting.
Contact me during the business day.
I have, and you have denied us an on-camera interview.
I don't have to give you an interview.
No interview, so I waited. Me, 2 residents, and the crown molding. Until the public comment session. The taxes of the village do not cover your police department? The conversation was lively and included a key question about billing for the response of police. Is that hard billing or soft billing? What would you tell the people who receive those bills?
Chief, do you have a comment? I think the answer is soft billing.
I don't really know for sure, Mayor.
Turns out the mayor admitted it's all soft billing.
This is not just a microphone. It's a Cleveland icon, one which captures the sound of our community. The joy, the challenges, the tears. Gives you a voice. It's a symbol of integrity, authority, justice. Carried every day by people who know Cleveland best. Always in the hand of someone on your side. This is not just a microphone. This is News 5.
5-year side investigator Joe Paganakis brought it to the attention of city leaders.
Joe, this crossing is in the top 15 for crashes in just the last 10 years.
It's located right here on Cleveland's east side, and city leaders admit much more must be done to improve safety here. The Norfolk Southern Rail crossing on Bessemer Avenue, just a half mile from East 79th in Cleveland. A crossing, by all reports, is meeting all federal safety standards, complete with operating crossing gates. But according to nationally recognized train safety expert Bob Comer, this crossing is
one of the 10 most dangerous in the entire United States.
Comer says the Federal Railroad Administration has reported 34 accidents here since 1980. Since 2006, News 5 has covered 8 of the collisions here, involving tractor trailers, vans, cars, and high-speed chases, police cruisers, and even this Amtrak passenger train carrying 262 passengers in December of 2015. From the looks of this Chevy Impala wedged into the train, it's a miracle no one was seriously injured.
It all adds up to a dangerous situation for motor vehicle operators.
So we went through pages of Bessemer Avenue accident reports and obtained this FRA study, which has the crossing listed among a group of 15 of the most dangerous in the country over the past 10 years. Comer says there are a number of reasons why.
You'll notice there are 3 tracks, and there's a very sharp angle. It's a slightly humped crossing. There are at least 20 trains a day.
Comer says the visibility of crossing lights and gates in this industrial area is another key reason why this crossing is so hazardous.
You look at the site obstructions, the bushes, the trees, the buildings.
Well, Joe, I used to live right around the corner here. This has always been a dangerous intersection.
We took this case to Cleveland Councilman Blaine Griffin and showed him the accident reports and stats. He quickly agreed something must be done as soon as possible.
Not only the automobiles that are driving this way, but I've seen a lot of pedestrians that cut through this area as well.
Better signage, maybe some advanced new signs.
Comer says a series of additional warning signs a quarter mile from the crossing would help. He says some cities and states are doing this, actually putting up traffic lights at crossings, successfully improving safety for relatively little cost.
You'll have a green light when no trains are coming. When a train comes, it'll go yellow and then it'll go red. And that is so much better than what we see right here today.
Will you take your concerns to the traffic commissioner of the city of Cleveland?
Oh, most definitely. I'll be taking it to the commissioner. I'll be taking it to the safety director.
Because of our story, Griffin also pledged to ask the Ohio Rail Development Commission for safety improvement dollars here. Meanwhile, Comer says it would also help big time if drivers obeyed the law. In broad daylight, our camera in plain sight, driver after driver going around the gate looking to beat the train.
The bottom line is, if you don't make this safer, the next accident is just waiting to happen.
Meanwhile, Griffin says there are several other Cleveland crossings that are in desperate need of safety improvements as soon as possible. We reached out to Norfolk and Southern to see if they had any ideas on how to improve safety here at this crossing. We'll let you know what they came up with. Reporting live here in Cleveland, I'm 5 on your side investigator Joe Paganakis.
New tonight at 6, we're taking you back to North Point Apartments in Euclid.
We first told you about piled up trash and rat issues there earlier this week.
Tiana Wilson got the keys to her 19th floor apartment this morning, and she was ready to hand over more than $1,500 to move in when she had the chance to get a sneak peek at what her money was about to get her.
These are some of the pictures Wilson snapped just hours before she was set to move in to Unit 1955. Stained carpets, trash, and a fridge filled with old food and cockroaches greeted her.
It doesn't seem like they care. They don't live here, so they don't care.
We also went directly to the staff at North Point.
I'm going to ask you guys to leave.
If you thought it couldn't get any worse than what we've already showed you, imagine bed bugs, mold, and maggots in your home.
A judge has given the property management company here more time to tackle issues, telling the city things are moving in the right direction.
You can't just take their word that progress is being made.
Today we met with a man who lives nearby and says all of these problems are just the tip of the iceberg at North Point.
This week, a fire inspection revealed more code violations.
The city is not responding quick enough or hard enough. When I push my feet down, you can smell the rotting carcasses.
Euclid's law director tells me the Cuyahoga County Board of Health reports a 75% reduction in the rat population at North Point.
The law director is wrong. She doesn't know what she's talking about. The evidence is here.
After months of requests, the team trying to turn around this embattled apartment community invited us to take a tour of their property.
What the city told me to do is what we did.
Residents tell me pieces of their neighbors' balconies above have fallen onto them while outside.
How does North Point LLC let it get to the point that it got to?
Well, it relied on its management company.
Stefanini tells me an exterminator is here every day trying to get rid of the rodents. This new video, taken just weeks after the law director for the city of Euclid told me they were getting the rodent infestation at North Point under control.
Now we want to take you outside, give you a live look. That's North Point Apartments in Euclid, where people, you see the signs, they are fed up with delays and excuses and demanding some action to change their deplorable living conditions.
The management company responsible for the apartments is facing criminal charges, but has so far convinced the courts to delay and delay and delay, vowing progress is being made.
North Point's owner was supposed to be in court to update the judge on the progress they're making, but less than 24 hours before they were to appear, they requested the case be continued until next month. It is a delay that has now happened nearly a half-dozen times.
It's happening at Barrio's Commissary Kitchen on Cleveland's west side. Employees told us they warned the city this would happen. News 5's Megan Hickey saw the damage for herself, and Megan, one worker says she could have been seriously injured from all of this.
She was working in the alley just 10 minutes before these massive clay tiles started crashing to the ground, and she says the worst part is that the city's known about the danger for more than a year. It's a quiet alley on West 65th where Barrio smokes its brisket. Quiet until Monday, when something started raining from the sky. The security camera footage is hard to believe.
It bashed my skull in, that's for sure. And it happened so quickly, like, I don't think we could have gotten away from that, you know?
Barrio Commissary Kitchen Manager Tia Rackton holds this 15-pound clay tile.
We could have died with this.
It's the tile she found in the very spot where she was standing while loading the smoker just 10 minutes before.
Probably would have split my head in two, or worse.
Those bricks are just waiting to fall off.
From Air Tracker 5's vantage point, it's even more precarious.
It's like boom, 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 and then down the row it went. All the way to about half the alley.
The worst part is Barrio's managers said they saw it coming, asking the city for help more than a year ago.
You're standing next to basically a ticking time bomb over here.
A time bomb now owned by the state. Email records show that the Department of Building and Housing told Barrios owners that the structure was too expensive to demolish. 8 months later, and the ward's councilman tells me the state, city, and county are still actively trying to come up with an estimated $3 million to fund it. In the meantime, Councilman Carrie McCormick tells me it's condemned. While there might be some fencing, Barrios' manager says it's certainly not secure enough to ensure the safety of its 40 workers on site. Preparing food for the restaurant's 4 locations and 3 food trucks. While the city works on a funding agreement, they want temporary safety precautions.
Nuts. Maybe knocking some of it away, stabilizing it, you know.
Arguing that the future of their business and their employees' safety is up in the air.
If our employees aren't safe, we're going to have to move to another site.
36 minutes as a group. 36 minutes as a brotherhood is all we have, guys. You got to play for each other.
Go, Grizzlies!
For 4 quarters, we're going crazy. Because we know this is it.
If you watch the freshman football team from Wadsworth High School, you'll see speed, contact,
counter,
energy.
Right here.
You may also notice
game, baby.
Number 16.
Cool kid.
Zach Patterson.
Let's go, baby. Got away, baby.
He just goes. It's unreal.
Let's go, baby.
He loves football.
Yeah, baby. Yeah.
He's a stud. I love him. He's a stud.
Go in there, Zachary. Go in there, Zach.
And he loves being on this field.
Get him, Zach.
Nice.
Good job, buddy.
But this is the last place his parents thought he'd be.
It's hard enough to play football with two legs. Playing with one, that's amazing.
Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby.
When he was 10 months old, we had made the decision to have his foot amputated.
Yes, he only has one, bone. He has 4 toes, and he doesn't have an ankle.
Zach was born with a deformity.
To give him the best possible chance, I guess I should say, to walk, to run, to play sports.
15 years ago, they just wanted to see their boy walk.
There's no book, and that's hard.
His left leg.
Titanium, steel, alloy.
Coming with non-stop trial and error.
He just learned other ways to do stuff.
But Zach Patterson?
Sports is my thing.
He didn't take his time.
And when he was 4, he started playing soccer. And then he wanted to play baseball. And then he wanted to play football.
For mom and dad, worried doubt to astonishment.
He gets past every hurdle.
And prosthetic after prosthetic.
Zach Proof is sort of our term around here.
This kid continued to break the mold.
We usually break the feet.
Literally.
Coach, my leg broke again. Yikes.
They're shipping this stuff back to the companies, and they're like, there's no way. How is this kid breaking them? And it's just his torque, all the stuff he puts in it.
Get him, Zach, get him!
It wasn't just his legs breaking.
Turn around, turn around.
He was breaking.
It was rubbing his skin. He was bleeding into the prosthetic at the end of every game, and they would pour blood out from it.
Nobody sees that part. Nobody sees us getting in the car and him taking it, and it's just blood.
But Zach stayed with it until he got to high school. A much faster and more physical game.
110% was not even close to what I had to be at.
After making this discovery, he confided in his mom.
I just don't think I can do it anymore. I can't keep up with those kids.
It frustrates me that I can't be who I really want to be.
He can get stronger, but he really can't run faster.
The solution? A $40,000 leg.
Nobody can pay out of pocket $40,000. And the insurance would pay for none of that.
Deemed a luxury by insurance companies.
How do you tell a kid, you can't have a brand new foot? They give you what they give you.
The Pattersons?
I was done. I was done with football.
Denied 5 times. Football, for Zach, it appeared, was over.
It was just horrible.
You can't look at the downside.
But then word got around.
I'm going to do what I can for this kid.
To Dr. A.J. Seth from Spectrum Orthopedics.
We should give them the life that they deserve.
Thank you.
We can make them stiffer.
He made a call.
Feet at the same level.
Then a few more.
He just walks around like, yeah, there's nothing wrong with him.
A little Loctite.
And there really isn't.
Finally.
Whoa, that's cool.
He found the folks.
And he felt it as soon as he put it on.
To donate the new leg.
Getting a lot more motion.
Hanger prosthetics.
Anything we can do to make him feel a little bit more natural, more movement, help his performance.
Get outside, go, turn it!
Zach was back on the field.
There you go!
Turns out,
Wrap up!
that new leg
Hit something, I heard it crack.
has needed some adjustments.
I broke my leg. Again, like I always do.
While Zach has adjusted to something else.
Let's go, Zach!
Shattering new expectations.
I really think he can change so many lives out there.
There he goes, there he goes.
Zach just goes on.
Don't let this hold you back, because nothing will hold you back. It's yourself that's holding yourself back.
It plants itself in the mind. It gives root to sadness.
It's a parasite of sorts.
Emptiness. And despair.
It's gonna eat you up from the inside.
It is depression.
You can lock yourself in a room, just you, with no lock on the door, it'll still get in. It will find you.
Mike Berry suffers from depression, which began when he was just 7 years old. After being molested by a family member, he buried the memories deep.
The problem was there at that time. It was dug in deep.
Years later,
I went through 6 months of insomnia.
They resurfaced.
Where I had a reoccurring dream.
Again and again.
Of my uncle having sex with me.
And again.
I found the courage to speak to a family member, and that family member kind of, let's sweep that on, let's don't say nothing, it's going to cause a bigger problem.
This is something that we hush about, and we deal with it within our own community.
Dr. Martina Moore says this response is common within the African American community.
We have been taught that when these things happen, you keep it at home.
Let us shout. Let us worship.
And when it comes to the Black church, a pillar of strength and a place of refuge for the community,
there has been shame that has been attached to it. There has been beliefs that we can just pray it away.
For Mike, prayer didn't make it go away, nor did hush therapy.
I just did the best I could.
By 1990, he had a robbery conviction. He served a 7-year prison sentence. 13 days after his daughter was born.
My life was not, in fact, going correctly.
When he got out,
I fell into a depression.
A state of self-judgment.
I mean, I got 1,000 me's on my back. You know how heavy that is?
Barry's inner voices grew louder and louder with negativity.
I told myself I was going to commit suicide by 30.
Until one evening.
I wrote letters to my family, and I actually set up with a gun and was gonna kill myself that night.
He never followed through with it. In the middle of the night, a message.
My daughter woke up out of a dead sleep, grabbed me, and told me, don't leave me again.
His daughter unknowingly stopped him.
I knew then that I couldn't dump at the feet of my kids the pain that I was feeling.
Mike reached out and found help. In a different place.
I had to say, you know what? I just want to be better.
Counseling. And by coming here.
Counseling helped me go to the leaf, then to the twig, then to the branch, then to the tree, then to the root.
To Cleveland's Metro Parks.
Because if you can't get to the root, you can't fix it.
During dark times.
Did coming here help you to breathe?
Yeah, this is a place that I could come and just, the scenery, the water, just the environment, just helped me like center myself.
Begin to knock the wall down.
Now
I gotta tell you,
Mike
you gotta have a strong why.
Is branching out.
You gotta shoot it into the universe.
By producing motivational videos on YouTube.
I can do anything I want to do.
depression is my thorn.
And a documentary about depression.
I started making movies around 2011.
Called Pressure.
Realized that I actually had a talent for it.
To empower people to work on their depression.
Finally, that question, what's wrong?
Much like he does now. Through reflection.
Look in the mirror and say, you the problem.
Commitment.
It's gotta be work, and that work is hard.
And positive self-talk. Like this.
You are perfect in your imperfections, and anybody who knows you is better because of it. You are great, you are wonderfully made. Do not give up, because there's people out here who need you, who love you, and who want to see you still here.
News 5 on your side starts now.
The hunt for the Facebook killer.
We're following up on every lead that comes in to us, every single lead.
The search still on here in Ohio and across the nation for the killer who shot a random innocent man, then posted it for the world to see.
Killed 13 people, and I'm about to keep killing until they catch me.
As a family and a community grieves.
I knew that my dad was gonna die yesterday on Easter.
We all ask, why?
They want to shock society, and now they've come up with a new way.
We have to be careful, we have to be vigilant, and we have to watch over each other.
The man now known as the Facebook killer, still on the run tonight. The nationwide manhunt rolls on as we learn new information about Steve Stevens and his victim, Robert Godwin Sr. News 5 has team coverage tonight, from a neighborhood's call for change to analysis of Stevens' actions at a gun range. But we begin tonight with News 5 anchor Frank Wiley, who has the very latest on the search. Frank?
Rob, there's a $50,000 reward for information leading to an arrest. And on Facebook, Stevens joked that he would not be able to make it to work today because of what happened. As you can imagine, the victim's family is struggling to make it through the night. Online, in front of the world, he killed.
Oh, what's up, dog?
Following a single shot, Steve Stevens offered an unbothered Facebook admission.
Everybody keep putting this is that real? That's funny.
Tonight, no sign of him, but Stevens' face is everywhere. His smile hanging in infamy.
Always had to prove myself, always had to take the butts of people's jokes.
He was last seen driving a white Ford Fusion. Cops say he's armed. His victim's family deeply wounded.
I wanted to know his thought process. What was he thinking? Was he afraid? Was he crying or?
Sunday, Stevens pointed his pistol at 74-year-old Robert Godwin Sr., a stranger, and squeezed.
Today is the Easter Sunday massacre.
Officers swarmed this park in Philadelphia after someone said they had seen Stevens, a false alarm.
We've searched every available location where he's either resided, where he's had family members.
I killed 13 people, and I'm about to keep killing until they catch me.
Stevens blamed his girlfriend for his violence.
Man, I'm 37, and all my life, man, I just always been a monster.
He reduced Godwin's death to collateral damage. All right, check this out right here on your screen, the full-screen graphic of the vehicle that Stevens was last seen driving, a white Ford Fusion with the temporary tag of E363630. Of course, if you've seen him or that vehicle, go ahead and call police. Live in Cleveland, Frank Wiley, News 5.
Now, the News 5 investigators went out to Stevens' last known address to track his footsteps before the murder. We talked to one man who saw Stevens outside his ex-girlfriend's home in Twinsburg just on Saturday. That man says Stevens didn't look very happy. Twinsburg police say they never responded to that address before, but they did find weapons when searching that home last night. Officers are now guarding the neighborhood just in case. The Twinsburg City Schools sending out a message tonight after Stevens' connections to the community came to light. They say since police think he is now well out of this area, class and activities will go on as scheduled. However, there will be an extra police presence at the schools tomorrow.
That was my daddy. And then that man killed my daddy for no reason.
It's heartbreaking. Family torn apart because of that random act of violence. And tonight, neighbors near that Cleveland murder scene broadcast on Facebook are calling for change. News 5's Derek Waller spoke with people who live in the city's Glenville neighborhood. Understandably, Derek, a lot of emotion there today.
Rob, a lot of tears tonight and a lot of people having trouble making sense of exactly what happened over on East 93rd Street yesterday. But there is one thing that is very clear. People say that they know exactly what needs to change right now.
Let them get some peace. Just turn yourself in, please.
The mother of two of Robert Godwin's children could not hold back her tears.
He took my kid's father from him. And you still breathing out here. My baby's is hurting.
Angela Smalls and her children stood in the same spot on East 93rd Street where her boyfriend and their father was killed on Sunday.
Nobody knew that my daddy was gonna die. Yesterday on Easter.
An immediate void total strangers are now filling.
Nobody that matters, look at me, is gonna think you weak because you're crying.
You have no connection to this family.
No.
And so what made you want to do this?
This is my neighborhood.
James Kidd organized this gathering in part to get neighbors in this Glenville community behind a rebirth. Kidd knows the dilapidated houses and vacant lots might have attracted a killer.
It would help if this were, instead of a gated off area, this were a park, because more people would have been out.
But tonight there is a more immediate concern.
Until he's caught, we are not safe. We don't know where he's at.
One that brought longtime Glenville neighbor Tanya Robinson to tears.
I'm still... That man could have been my father. That man could have been me, because I walk these streets. That man could have been a child. We don't know.
In Cleveland, I'm Derek Waller, News 5.
The News 5 investigators are also digging into Steve Stevens' background to see if there were any signs pointing to this deadly breakdown. Stevens posted on Facebook that he lost everything he had to gambling, that he was at his breaking point, and, quote, "I'm really on my murder." Bankruptcy records show Stevens was, in fact, in deep debt, owing $15,000 total to several cash advance companies, student loan collectors, and a debt collection agency as well. Meanwhile, those who know Stevens say some of his fraternity members tried to get him help last year, but Stevens said no.
And I guess that was the final straw for him, and he just felt he had nothing to lose at that point.
Still, the frat brother we spoke with said Stevens was always low-key. He didn't notice anything different about him when he saw him just a couple weeks ago. Facebook video of Steve Stevens right here at an Eastlake gun range firing handguns in 2016. It has some wondering now if this video showed any warning sign of the tragedy that would take place only months later. And a big question tonight: should gun range staff report suspicious customers to the police? News 5 investigator Joe Paganakis went in search of those answers, and Joe, at least one concealed carry expert says it's critical gun range staff keep close watch.
Yes, that's right, Rob. Keep close watch for many reasons, and that video surveillance is an important safety tool. Video posted on Facebook by Steve Stevens in 2016 at Sherwin Shooting Sports Indoor Gun Range here in Eastlake.
Yeah, but it's my favorite gun as of right now, the Glock 30S.
The Facebook clip showing Stevens outlining a series of handguns. Stevens, a concealed carry permit holder, is also seen being warned by a Sherwin staff member to stop rapid-fire shooting, which is against facility rules, posted here on its website.
And from what I've seen in the videos, he looked to be a very articulate individual.
Concealed carry courses permits instructor Kim Rodecker says Stevens' behavior at the shooting range seemed to show no warning signs.
He wouldn't trip your suspicion, that he was, nuts, that he was going to hurt somebody.
Rodecker says all shooting range facilities have the right to remove anyone from the property for any reason, especially if there are safety or security concerns, and that it's critical gun range staff members keep close watch at all times for unusual behavior or safety violations.
I do feel it's a good idea to have a camera on each and every single stall.
Police say Stevens did not have a criminal record, but even if he did, Rodecker says it isn't the responsibility of the gun range to check. But he says range staff members should take action to report suspicious activity to the police.
They should. They should go out, take his license plate number, and give it to the police. Tell them, hey, this man was in my range. He was saying these particular things, and then that's now under the police authorities what they're going to do.
And Rodecker says some Northeast Ohio gun range locations are now requiring first-time customers to watch a safety video and sign a document before they're allowed to use the facility. Rodecker believes this increased contact between staff and customers is a good idea. Reporting live, I'm News 5 investigator Joe Paganakis.
Okay, Joe, thank you. Also new tonight, Facebook says it is going to review its reporting flows after Steve Stevens' post leading up to and then eventually showing the murder on the social network. Facebook says Stevens' page was disabled within 23 minutes of the first report. They also broke down a timeline of how all this went down on Sunday. Stevens first uploaded a video about his intent to kill at 2:09 p.m. It was never reported. 2 minutes later, the video of the actual shooting was posted. Stevens then confessed to the murder on Facebook Live at 2:22. That was reported shortly afterward, but it was another hour and a half before the video of the shooting was reported. And 23 minutes after that, Facebook disabled Stevens' account. Of course, the fact that this is just the latest crime to play out on social media has many questioning the safety of being able to share anything on the internet.
The people I'm going to kill today is Easter Sunday. It's not my first.
While killers sending confessions to newspapers and taunting police is nothing new, criminal justice expert Dr. Ross Riggs says instant video platforms like Facebook are escalating that danger. It is instant notoriety, and Riggs says that's what these offenders want.
I can one-up him. I can do better than he did, and I can make it more theatrical or whatever. And yeah, there'll be, you can probably guarantee it, there are going to be copycats out there.
While Facebook did take down Stevens' page and that video, the full unedited version is still on many other pages, but Facebook is now working to get rid of those posts as well. And we invite you to stay with News 5 for complete coverage of the manhunt for the Facebook killer. We're still digging into Steve Stevens' background as police continue to search for him nationwide. We'll bring you up-to-the-minute breaking developments both on air and on our News 5 app, and what you need to know about helping the victims in just minutes. But for now, we change gears and check in with Chief Meteorologist Mark Johnson for a look at tonight's forecast.
All right, Rob, cooling down, 50s, even some 40s out there. Sky is pretty much clear to partly cloudy. 51 Elyria to Worcester to Dover, New Philly, 54 in Akron. Clouds confined mainly to the southern portions of the viewing area. We'll see a few clouds in and out. Rain showers are well off to our northeast, so we're going to stay dry. Temps falling into the mid-40s towards sunrise, going up. Tomorrow should be a nice mild day. We'll talk more about that. Quiet and cool night, midweek storms, and we're tracking a much cooler weather weekend. Rob, more on that coming up.
Well, as family members mourn the murder of an innocent man, others look to cash in on their grief and your kindness. The warning tonight about donating to what you think is the family of the Facebook killer's victim. Plus, North Korea is still the hot topic as our vice president takes a 10-day tour of Asia. The strong words thrown around after that country's failed missile launch this weekend. And more fallout for United tonight. The policy changes now in place after a passenger was dragged off a plane. The nationwide manhunt still on tonight for the man now known as the Facebook killer. There's a $50,000 reward for information leading to the arrest and conviction of Steve Stevens. He's been on the run now for more than 24 hours after posting video on Facebook that shows him shooting and killing a man picked at random on Cleveland's east side. Here's another look now at the car police want us to look out for. Stevens was last seen driving this 2016 white Ford Fusion, temporary tags E363630. Investigators say Stevens could be well out of Ohio by now, but information about his car is still lighting up the ODOT signs and billboards over our highways. If you know anything about Steve Stevens' whereabouts, call 1-800-CALL-FBI. And if you see him, call 911. We do have a warning tonight for anybody looking to help out the family of the man Stevens is accused of killing, Robert Godwin. There have been a lot of GoFundMe accounts set up in his name and thousands of dollars already donated. Problem is, sadly, there's a good chance they all could be fake. Godwin's family told Cleveland police several of the accounts were not set up by them.
They're asking people not to contribute to any GoFundMe or any memorial or any account right now in Mr. Godwin's name.
GoFundMe tells News 5 that they have talked to the family and they will guarantee that the money will go to them or get refunded right back to the donors. They say some of those who organize campaigns did seem to just want to help the family out. but GoFundMe does plan to take down those other fake accounts. Other news now, the war of words escalating between the U.S. and North Korea tonight. Today, Vice President Mike Pence visiting the demilitarized zone along South Korea's border with North Korea after the North failed a missile launch over the weekend. During his meeting with South Korea's acting president, Pence warned that President Donald Trump considers a military response to still be on the table. Today, North Korea's representative to the United Nations blamed the U.S. for escalating tensions.
It has been created a dangerous situation in which the thermonuclear war may break out at any moment on the peninsula and pose a serious threat to the world peace and security.
The world witnessed the strength and resolve of our new president in actions taken in Syria and Afghanistan. North Korea would do well not to test his resolve.
Pence will next head to Japan on his 10-day tour of Asia. The North Korean threat to the region will remain at the top of the agenda. There are a number of new developments tonight with United Airlines and the fallout after a passenger was dragged off a plane. First, its policies. United says passengers who've already boarded a plane will no longer be kicked off flights, now requiring crews traveling on those planes be booked at least an hour before departure. So if a passenger needs to be bumped, it'll happen at the gate. Second, profits. While the drop wasn't as bad as the 70% that Wall Street had predicted, United's profits are down 57% because of increased fuel prices and labor costs. Okay, so as I was going to say, as we head into the weekend, that is wishful thinking for a Monday.
It's only Monday. We are already looking toward the weekend. It's going to be a little cooler. Okay. So let's enjoy some 70-degree weather. So let's get right to it now in the Power of 5. Notice the rain showers are off to our north and east up toward Erie, PA, and sliding away. So we're going to stay dry. Just some ground clutter here and there. 5 live radars. We don't miss a raindrop. No way. Here's our little fading front. Now it's only a little weak wind shift line. It's going to go bye-bye very quickly. Look at all these high, thin clouds. Central and southern Ohio creeping up toward Akron. But right here along the lakeshore, we're seeing a mainly clear sky. Now let's zoom on out. We'll show you tomorrow. Look at all this fair weather and sunshine right inside the red box. All of that is going to settle into northern Ohio and your neighborhood tomorrow. So we're looking for bright sunshine. But then on Wednesday, by Wednesday afternoon into Thursday, we get moisture from this system and even some moisture from this system pooling over Ohio. And that will mean rain showers. Front fades. Warm front comes in. Here are those showers beginning to pool. There they are. And a little front will kind of park all the way into Thursday across northern Ohio. So some wet weather from midweek into Thursday. So tomorrow, good day to go golfing, right? 45 degrees tonight, a few clouds staying cool. Tomorrow, why not? Let's do 71 degrees, sunny skies, dry and mild. Great day. Look at all that sunshine. We'll see a few little clouds, especially by late afternoon, but all in all, should be a nice day to get outside. 70 for Akron, Canton, mainly sunny, dry and mild. We'll start off in the 40s, but look, 70 by 4 p.m. So going to school in the 40s, coming home near 70, not too shabby. Wednesday, it's PM, thunder, 74. Thursday, there's more showers and storms likely, 68. And then the cool down arrives. Uh-oh, top on the Jeep, Rob Powers.
Got it.
52 Friday, Saturday, 58. A few showers on Sunday, mid-50s, 53 on Monday. And you notice those overnight lows cooling back into the 40s. After all, it is still April, not yet summertime. So we're due for some cooler weather. Unfortunately, it's for the weekend. Let's go back to Rob.
But we're getting there. We have gorgeous pictures tonight, Mark, of that wildflower super bloom in California. They are pouring in right now, but not only do we have these breathtaking shots, we also have satellite images from space that show the extreme difference in greenery from December on the left and then what's going on right now in March. This super bloom follows years of extreme drought.
Big night in sports. Cavs with a change of pace tonight against Indiana. We'll show you what they did in the playoffs as they turned it up in the second half. They leave the Pacers in the dust.
Now, News 5 Sports, sponsored by Buick GMC of Beechwood.
Before kickoff by Jefferson, and this is James by himself.
More like it. Some playoff intensity tonight for the Cavaliers at home in front of a great crowd. Cavs built a 19-point lead tonight. Kevin Love really turned it on in the third and set the tone. Love, watch him right here. Comes up with an easy bucket. Then off a LeBron miss, the one-handed rebound for the bucket. Oh, nice. Love with 27 and 11. LeBron with the drive to the lane, 25 and 10. Kyrie, 37 points tonight. Big three at the end of the third quarter, but still was a close game in the end. Watch the inbounds pass. Ty Lue is so good at drawing up these plays. Kyrie comes up with a bucket. 117-111 the final. Kevin Love with a big night.
You know, playoff basketball is about making winning plays and giving your body up. And, you know, all night long he stood in there and tried to take charges. And I thought all of them could have went either way. And, you know, that's what it's all about.
I just want to help my teammates out, sacrifice my body. I felt like I did that tonight. And whether it got called or not, I feel like, you know, it's setting its home for the rest of the team that more than anything being a selfless act and, you know, giving your body up and, you know, hoping it goes the right way.
Amon Shumpert also with a big night tonight. We toss things over to Lauren Brill, who is standing by at Quicken Loans Arena. Lauren.
Andy, the Cavs had fans really loud and excited here tonight at the Q, especially in the third quarter when the Cavs had a 19-point lead with about 2 minutes to go in the third quarter. But then fans started biting their nails a little bit in the fourth quarter when that lead dwindled all the way down to 4 points with about 20 seconds left to go in the game. After the game, we talked to Channing Frye about blowing the double-digit lead, and he didn't seem too concerned.
You know, things happen. It's making adjustments, they go on runs, things happen. But we got the win, so we're just going to look at how we can get better. You know, the game's about runs, and so we just, you know, missed some shots there, and they were attacking our traps and stuff. So, you know, there were some mistakes that were made. We just got to look, and, you know, we got another win, so that's all that matters.
J.R. Smith left the game with a left hamstring injury. The team saying he'll be evaluated tonight. He'll get some treatment tomorrow. And then on Wednesday, they'll release an official update. Game 3 is Thursday night in Indianapolis, and the Cavs definitely happy to be heading to Indy with a 2-0 lead in this series. Reporting live from the Q, Lauren Brill, News 5. Back to you, Andy.
Thank you very much, Lauren. Indians starting a 4-game swing in Minnesota tonight. Edwin Encarnacion drives in his first run of the season with a runner in scoring position. It was big tonight, 2-1 in the third. Then Michael Brantley, man, this is just so great to see. His second home run of the year. The Indians win 3-1. Minnesota ended the game with the bases loaded, but Cody Allen got it done. Off-season workout started for the Browns veterans today. They reported to Bria. Over the next few days, we will hear all kinds of things about the draft from the Executive Vice President of Football Operations, Sashi Brown, and head coach Hugh Jackson. Stay tuned for that throughout the rest of the week. We're back after this.
All right, so you love coffee, but you say you hate the stains it leaves on your teeth. Well, some creative minds in England may have come up with a solution. A company says it developed the first colorless coffee on the market. That's coffee right there.
It's called water.
Unflavored coffee. They say it's made from Arabica beans, pure water, and produced by methods you never used before. They aren't saying what those methods are, nor have they released a full list of ingredients, but coffee's not cheap either. 2 packs is going to cost you more than $7.
And what attire is the Emperor wearing?
Yes, it's water, artificial flavors, and caffeine.
A little clear coffee for you.
Nice.
There you go. All right, that's it for the fellas. That's it for us for now. For Mark Johnson, Andy Baskin, and the whole team, I'm Rob Powers. We do thank you for being with us tonight. Stay with News 5 for the latest on our breaking news. Good Morning Cleveland starts at 4:30 a.m., and we will see you right back here tomorrow night.
Energize your morning with Good Morning Cleveland and News 5 Traffic Now updates from the Akron-Canton Airport Traffic Center.